Today, this mostly Irish guy is going to cook Italian. Well, kind of Italian, my version of Italian, because I'm going to be making some stuffed shells. We're going to get our shells ready. We're going to mix up a delicious ricotta filling, make a terrific Italian sausage sauce, put it all together and bake it up, and hopefully have a delicious, cheesy meal at the end. Yeah, you like how I said ricotta? Makes me feel Italian, not just saying ricotta. But we're not going to be doing anything right here, right now. We're going to head over to the stove and get our pasta shells ready. All right, my water is boiling. I want to go ahead and get about a tablespoon of salt in here. And now the pasta shells are going in. I'm using 12 ounces of Barilla pasta, just pasta shells. Normally you'd cook these for about 9 minutes, but we're only going about half of that. We'll say about 5 minutes, because they're going to continue cooking when we bake this and they're going to soften. We don't want them to get too mushy right away. So as soon as they're done here, I'm going to take them out, drain them, run cold water over them, let them cool down while we move on to the rest of our preparation. Give them a little stir here. Got my timer running, almost halfway. Okay, we are coming up to 5 minutes. As soon as it hits that, I'm gonna take this off here. Like I said, I'm gonna drain it, run it under cold water. Just let these chill down, and I'll see you back here at the stove so we can make our sauce. So I have my high-sided skillet here. I'm gonna turn the heat up to about medium-high right now. I'm gonna add just a small amount of olive oil. First thing I'm going to add is half of a medium shallot that's been chopped up. I'm not even going to wait for that to really cook down because I'm going to add 1.5 pounds of Italian sausage now. This is half sweet Italian and half hot Italian. They're basically just 4 fresh Italian sausage links that I removed the casing from. And those are hot and our sweet. I'm going to turn my heat down to about medium now. Just want to break this down. I am going to add more seasonings here, but this sausage is really where the flavor for the sauce is going to come from. Now we don't need to let this sausage cook fully through right here. It's going to finish cooking in the sauce. So right now we're going to add 2 28-ounce cans of tomato puree. It's also called tomato sauce, whatever you want to call it. You could even use whole crushed tomatoes. Just break it down once you get it in the pan. Give it a little stir here to get everybody mixed up. Now some people like to cook the sausage all the way first and release the oils from there, and then you drain the oil off. These sausages I find don't have too much oil, and I like a little bit of that oil in there. That's flavor, that's fat. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of some fresh basil. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of a chopped pepper. Now this is a hot banana pepper. This is just going to bring a little bit more heat to this, not a lot. You can leave this out if you want. Now I'm just going to salt and pepper this to taste. Just grind some salt and some pepper. This is really up to you how much you want to put in. Probably I'd go with about a teaspoon each. Mix this in here. Now I'm just going to put my lid on and let this simmer for about 15 minutes covered before I check it. So I'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. All right, our sauce has been going for 15 minutes now, and as you can see, it is splattering on that lid. That's why I like to put the lid on here. So I'm going to turn the burner down to low while I check this, because I just don't want it spraying everywhere. Oh, that smells good. Now I like those chunkier pieces of Italian sausage there. If you want yours a little bit more broken down, you can do that first when you're sauteing it, but this is how I like it. Now I'm gonna cover this and let this go for another 20 minutes And as soon as that's done, we're going to move on to making our filling for these stuffed shells. So for the filling today, we are starting with 15 ounces of ricotta cheese. Ricotta. It's like saying ricotta. To this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of dried basil, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic. And we're going to mix this all together. Now with this, you could really add any flavors you like. It's kind of like the sauce. Once you finish the sauce and you taste it, you could add more salt, more pepper, more basil, straight up Italian seasoning, red pepper flakes if you want heat. Make it your own. All right, that looks good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and load up the device which will help me fill these shells. It's usually used in like cake decorating and things like that, but works well for this too. I'm just gonna start spooning in our mixture here. Now you don't have to use one of these. You could use a Ziploc bag that you fill up with this and cut one corner and use that like a pastry bag. Or you can just use a spoon if you're really good with that. This just makes things a little easier for me. Let's get our top on here. Let's get our shells filled and assemble this dish. So I'm gonna be using this baking dish here today. I believe this is about a 10 or 11 by 13. And I'm gonna put a layer of sauce in the bottom first. Just something for our shells to rest on. Now we're gonna fill our shells. I'm gonna take one of the shells here with my filler, just like that. And we're gonna place our shell in our bed of sauce and repeat. Don't want to overfill your shells. Now, if you run out of ricotta mixture, you can always just shove mozzarella in these, and I've got a bunch of mozzarella. I'm not gonna fill any more. This is enough for me right now, but we're gonna top this with some cheese and some more sauce now. First, I wanna give this a sprinkling of mozzarella. I've got about, 3 cups of mozzarella that's been shredded here. I'm just gonna give it a light sprinkling first. Then some Parmesan and some more sauce. We get good coverage with our sauce here. Some more mozzarella. And some more Parmesan. Now I'm using a total of about 5 ounces of Parmesan here. I get a really good topping of this on here. All right, this is looking good. I'm gonna cover this with some foil now, and it's gonna go into a 350-degree oven for about 25 minutes. At that time, we're gonna take the foil off and let some of the color develop on top, let it get nice and melty. And we'll probably go another 10 or 15 minutes after that. All right, let's get this in the oven. All right, we are just at about the 25-minute mark. Let's take a look, get that foil off, and let this build some color on top. Got some sticky cheese. All right, we're gonna let this go for probably another 10 to 15 minutes. Let that top melt more and develop some color. All right, we've been going about 20 minutes. I let it go a little bit longer. I think we're probably gonna be done. Oh yeah. Nice and bubbly and melty. Got some color on the cheese. All right, I'm gonna get this out of here and let this just sort of cool down for about 5 minutes so it's not lava hot when I taste it. All right, our stuffed shells have cooled down for just a minute. I have them just slightly off my cutting board here on a silicone trivet. And I'm gonna cut in and we're gonna transfer some to this plate here because it's time to taste. Let's get in here. Let's see what we can get. Oh yeah. A little bit more of that ricotta oh, look at that. Now I just want to sprinkle a little bit of some fresh basil on here, some chopped up fresh basil. For a little bit of color and some flavor. Yeah, let's just let the basil rain down here. Let's dig in here. I want to make sure I get some of that ricotta filling. There we go. Just the addition of those simple herbs, the basil, the oregano, the garlic powder, a little bit of salt, transforms that ricotta from something that is, really fairly bland to a really good delivery vessel of flavor. That sauce really did take on the flavor of the Italian sausage that we cooked up. And I am getting a little bit of the kick from those banana peppers. They're pretty hot. I grow those out in my garden. And for some reason, that variety is really hot. That's why I only used like that small amount, but it still added the kick. Now this is a dish you could cook up out on the grill, the smoker, anything where you can get that 350 temperature and hold it. You could bake it out there and add some smoke flavor to this, which I've done before, but cooking it in the oven's just fine and it tastes fantastic. I'm really, really liking that herb ricotta filling. Well, that's how I make stuffed shells, making a very simple sauce, a great filling that's equally as simple, topping it with some good cheese, and all of those things come together at the end to really give you a fantastic dish that's filling, satisfying, that's going to please anyone.